This is Pesky Kids 2, Bear in the Woods. And it's about my characters, Joe, Finn, April and Loretta. And they've all got in trouble with the police, so they have to go and pick up litter in the bush. So that's what this story's all about. It's page 65. If you buy it yourself, you can check it out. Back at the Bush Regeneration Group, Constable Pike had separated the girls and boys into two teams so they could work on opposite banks. The creek was surprisingly filthy. A bend in the waterway meant that anything anyone chucked in upstream drifted to a halt and was caught on the rocks at this turn. As a result, the surrounding pristine bushland, which echoed with the sound of bird calls and was perfumed by the smell of wildflowers, had what looked like a rubbish dump washed up in the middle of it. "Where do we start?" asked April. "It's usually a good idea to pull out the shopping trolleys first," advised Loretta. "Then you can fill them up with the other junk and wheel them out." April and Loretta strode forward and started pulling out junk from the pile. April found a bicycle. "Cool, this is better than the bike Dad made me." "Doesn't have any brakes," said Loretta. "That's fine with me," said April. "I don't like slowing down." April glanced over her shoulder. Matilda. Now Matilda is the goody two-shoes from school. She's got blonde hair, always in perfect plaits. She's very annoying. Matilda was standing on the same spot on the bank. She looked rigid with fear. "What's wrong with you?" demanded April. I can't do this," said Matilda. "Why not?" asked April. "It's just so." Matilda struggled to find a word that would adequately express her feelings. "It's just so disgusting." April and Loretta looked at the pile of refuse. "It's rubbish, but it's clean rubbish," said April. "It's been washed in the creek." "But someone else threw it away," said Matilda. "Someone grubby." "That's very judgmental," said Loretta. "I'm sure people of all socioeconomic backgrounds can throw rubbish in a creek." "Yeah," said April. "Loretta's posh and she does morally bankrupt things all the time." "Only a grubby person would throw a wheelchair into a creek," said Matilda, pointing at an upside-down wheelchair poking out from a pile of old plastic bags. "You can't know that," reasoned Loretta. "It could have been an old person who was feigning disability to commit benefits fraud, then disposed of the wheelchair when they fled the country to live a life of luxury in Venezuela." "That's very specific," said April. "You know someone who did that, don't you?" "Maybe," said Loretta with a smile. "I do have a very wicked Aunt Lizzie." "Let's just get over here and help, would you?" demanded April. "No, you can't make me," said Matilda. April's eyes gaped. "Of course I can. I'd enjoy making you." She strode back over to Matilda gleefully. Matilda realised she'd said something very stupid. No, she protested. She didn't even have to try to run, sensing that April would soon outstrip her, harnessing her natural inner rage. Matilda just turned to the nearest tree and hugged it tight, like a koala bear afraid of being blown away by a cyclone. April grabbed Matilda by the waist and pulled hard. "Let go of that tree," she demanded. "No," wailed Matilda. "I don't want to touch that disgusting rubbish." "What makes you think the tree is any cleaner?" asked April. "Possums use trees as bathrooms." "What?" said Matilda in horror. "You've probably got your face pressed against possum pee right now," said April. "Or poo," said Loretta helpfully. Matilda screamed. "Ah!" It was the type of scream you usually only heard in horror movies when the prom queen was about to be killed by a chainsaw-wielding ski mask-wearing psycho. April tugged hard on Matilda's waist at the exact moment Matilda suddenly let go, so she could check her hands for visible signs of possum excrement. Unfortunately for April, she pulled a little too hard. For those of you familiar with Newtonian physics, you'll know that every action causes an equal and opposite reaction. So as a result, April toppled backwards. She let go of Matilda so she could windmill her arms about, desperately trying to regain her balance. But it wasn't to be. April tottered on the edge of the bank for a moment, then tumbled into the deepest part of the creek, with a huge splash, completely disappearing into the water. "What have I done?" said Matilda. The surface of the water was still, except for the pitter-patter of raindrops. "You've killed April," said Loretta unhelpfully. "I bet you're going to have to pick up a lot of rubbish in the bush to make up for that." Suddenly, April burst up through the surface of the water, spluttering. "Pah, pah, pah," she said, as she spat the rubbish-infused creek water out. "What did you do that for?" she demanded, looking up at Matilda standing on the bank above her. "You were trying to kill me," argued Matilda. "I was trying to make you pick up rubbish," said April. "That's the whole reason you're here." Just then, they could hear a distant rumbling sound. "What is that?" said Matilda. The rumbling was getting louder. They could hear branches breaking and birds squawking as they hastily flapped away. "It's just like thunder," said April. "No, get out of the creek," called Loretta, looking uncharacteristically serious. "What?" asked April. "Flash flood," said Loretta. "Get out. There must be heavy rain upstream. It's coming this way." The rumbling was getting louder. They could hear water splashing and sloshing. April started wading as fast as she could to the bank. Loretta lay down and reached over the edge, holding out a hand to April. The rumbling was getting very loud now. "Quick, grab my hand," said Loretta. April lunged, her fingertips brushing Loretta's just as the waters hit. A rushing, gushing, tumbling wave of water and plant debris swept through the gully, taking April with it. "No!" cried Loretta. "Arf, arf, arf," said Pumpkin. "Ah," said Matilda, as she collapsed in a dead faint. The end. There you go. Thank you.